high school football, the Millbrook Pioneers season ends after falling to James Wood Colonels 43-27. Now joining me, the head coach of the Millbrook Pioneers, Josh Haymore. Coach, always appreciate your time here. I would imagine not the way you want your season to end with a loss against a crosstown rival, but looking at this first half of play against James Wood, it just looked like you were going neck and neck with James Wood. A lot of plays, a kickoff return in the mix as well, which again verifies what you have said before. This Millbrook Pioneers team playing with a lot of passion and a lot of fight, just not the way you want to end it with a loss like that after that. But just take me through, in your mind, what you saw out of the matchup.
I think seeing our kids play just it shows me again that they had a lot of resilience, that they just kept playing hard. That was the good thing to watch. We didn't have a lot of seniors that were starting. As a matter of fact, I think we had 2 on defense and 4 on offense, and that was it. And like the game and 2 before, we didn't have 3 of those seniors, so we only had 2 or 3 starting force, or 3 starting force after that. But I mean, just seeing the resilience for our kids, like how fast they were playing, how hard they were playing, they wanted to win. Letting those, or seeing those young guys just going out there and doing exactly what we were coaching them to do. Just when you send a bunch of sophomores and juniors out there against a bunch of seniors and juniors, it's tough, but the kids really showed a lot of heart and drive to try to win that football game.
I know the first half was close, and the second half, James Wood sort of taking it away, bumping up the score a little bit. Was there sort of a change you saw from James Wood that alluded to them scoring some more points there, or what did you see?
No, I mean, they did the same things. It was tough for, without the depth that we had, and they had a little bit more depth than what we had. It was hard to be able to roll in some new fresh guys into the mix. So it was tough to do that. That I think we just kind of got wore down, and they were doing a good job of reading what we had, and not really anything different than what they did all year.
Yes, absolutely. And just looking off the field, I just wanted to get your thoughts. Some parachute jumpers coming into the stadium before the game. I know your team was locked in, ready to play a football game, but did you get a chance just to see that atmosphere, and what was that like?
Oh shoot! Well, we were out on the field when it actually happened twice. They had a practice run that they did about 10 minutes before we were going out to get warmed up, about 5:30, and you got to see 4. Actually, it was 4 of them that jumped the first time. It was pretty neat to be able to see them jump out and all that stuff, because it was a little bit clearer. You didn't have the stadium lights on as bright, and it was still light in the sky. And then Mr. Sullivan, the athletic director over at James Wood, actually gave us the schedule to make sure that if we wanted to come out, we could. And I was like, man, it's an experience that you only get to see so many times. So let's get the kids out there and let them see it. It was really fun because you stand on the sidelines, and the coaches that watched him at the pregame were like, "Where's the 4th one? We can't find him." And the rest of the time, it was like the kids were looking for which one had the ball, which one had the flag. And it was pretty neat for those guys to be able to see that, and at ground level too, instead of being somewhere at a college game where you're sitting on the second deck and barely even see the guys land. It was pretty neat, and not a lot of those guys aren't going to see another thing like that again, which is it was an experience. It was yeah, we were locked in, but as a coach, you kind of look at it as this is an opportunity for let them to do something that they probably won't be able to see but so many times in their lives. So let's make sure they see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just looking at the results again, not one you wanted to see, but ending your season there, unfortunately. But I know not the hand you wanted to be dealt with this season with all the adversity you've been through, but yeah, just the fight of your kids again in the circumstances that Millbrook football has faced. Sort of, how proud are you that they continue to fight for you all the way to the end?
Man, I mean, tremendously proud. I think it literally was all the way until the end. Like there, I've been on a lot of teams, whether it was at JMU or Broadway or at Millbrook, and you see those guys just kind of stop playing. or you can see them go through the motions. And I'm telling you right now, like not one of those kids did that throughout the entire season. And there were some games that were out of reach, but they still they played hard. They went out and yeah, they took it seriously, and they tried to win the games and all that stuff. But they also went out there and had a little bit of fun with their teammates. You work hard throughout the entire off season, and you work hard during, preseason, and then, all the way up through camp and everything else. To let something go that easy, if you did that, you shouldn't be playing the sport. And, we looked at the guys, and I told them every week, like, just keep playing hard, because you keep getting better. You keep fighting for each other. You keep, doing the things that the coaches are telling you to do, and it's working. It's just, I mean, with some of the things, it was just, we didn't have the depth, or we didn't have the guys that, flip the field or something like that. But, to see those guys, especially as many sophomores and juniors as we played, I mean, at one point in time, it was starting for James Wood game. We had 4 sophomores starting on both sides of the ball. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's gigantic to see those guys go out and fight, and think about they got 3 more years or 2 more seasons. I mean, that's good stuff.
So now looking at the youth that your team has, with the unfortunate set of circumstances dealing with some of that adversity, the players that were on the field, I would imagine that's a pretty good start in terms of their in-game experience when it comes to preparing for the off-season conditioning and workouts, because I know that's right around the corner in a sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're going to start that in actually a couple of weeks, probably after Thanksgiving, gets done and all that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, that helps a lot. Is say, with those guys being able to play, to know the game experience. And we were at the district meeting the other day, and I was sitting with Coach Royball and the coach from Brentsville, and a couple other guys were around us, and we were talking about the seasons and stuff. And I was like, with injuries, but we played a crap ton of sophomores, and we played a lot of juniors. And the guy, the guy at Brentsville actually says, "I know exactly what that felt like." He said, "But 2 years later, we were really good." And I said, "I only hope that happens, buddy." I said, "The guys went out there. I mean, they played hard, and game experience speaks volumes, because I mean, you go out there and you know what to expect. It's not getting used to the speed of the game or anything like that. So it was good."
And I know you had some seniors on your team, some getting to play and some unfortunately not getting the opportunity to finish out. But what can you say about the senior leadership on your team this past season, whether they were playing for a certain amount of time or were unable to play towards the end of the season?
It was good to see some of them come back. At the end of the season, I thought there was a couple guys that started for us right there at the James Wood game that I didn't think would be able to make it back, but they worked hard, and they were able to come out and do that. I'm gonna speak individually on some of these guys. Guys like Ty Janigan, Ezra Doyle. I mean, those were 2 of our biggest leaders. Ty was a huge leader, especially. I mean, he wasn't hurt all year. He played every game. He played both ways. He knew what his expectations were, or what our expectations for him was at the beginning of the season and for the past couple of years, and he really met it. Leading guys after practice in punishment runs or regular runs or whatever. I was really proud with the way he did everything. Another one is Trey White. Trey White really stepped up. He didn't get to play the last game, but I mean the other 9 games. I mean he had meetings with players. He was on the varsity senate. He really stepped it up as a leader to try to motivate some of these young guys. And he knew, if the seniors weren't playing, a lot of the young guys in the future for Millbrook was bright, because those guys were playing, and he was able to be a leader for those guys. And it was really, very, very, I mean, it was so encouraging to watch him with those young guys. Like, they would walk back with him at the end of practice, just to try to get a little bit of knowledge of what, could help them in the future from Trey. It was good stuff.
So I don't really want to look too far ahead, but in terms of the process this off season, looking at the players you have returning, and I'm not sure if you're looking at potential newcomers that are coming up, but what is that process like, and how are you evaluating what you sort of have come next season and the experience you're getting back with some of those younger guys getting in-game experience?
We brought up 14 kids from the JV team every week. And I think that was a huge thing. Like, we're evaluating the kids every single day. They're walking around in the hallways even today, and we want to see if they're doing the right things, if they're getting to class on time. If we'll check in on the teachers and say, hey, how's so and so doing and all that stuff. So I mean, they know it's a 24-hour, 365-day a year thing. I mean, it's not a let's just do this during football season or do this in the second semester so they're eligible. It's an all year thing. So the young kids, I'm really encouraged by our JV team. We had some size up front, which we've had before, but sparingly. We have a freshman class that has about 4 big kids, and then another center and all that stuff. But like, we had some big kids that roll through our program at the JV level, which was good, and they were able to stand on the sidelines and hear the leadership of the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, the all season, and it was good. So I mean, I'm very high on how we'll be in the next couple of years and seeing those guys play. Plus, also the good thing about Frederick County is they try to get us at least one game of some of the schools, especially our 2 feeder schools, to play on our game field, and we were able to watch and see some of those guys, talk to the coaches and things like that to see what guys were coming up, and I'm really encouraged by those guys. It was exciting to watch those guys too.
The Millbrook Pioneers hitting their offseason, falling to the James Wood Colonels 43-27. Rather, as always, appreciate the time with head coach of the Millbrook Pioneers, Josh Haymore, all season long. Coach, it went by in a blink of an eye, but the offseason is coming and cannot wait to catch up with you more next year, sir.
Yeah, sounds great. It did go by really, really fast. All right, but yeah, I look forward to it too.